Hello, Nuggets. It's your favorite TT from Divine Me 1111 Spiritual Guidance, and I hope you all are doing well. It's been some interesting energies over the weekend, so I hope you all were able to get as much out of the weekend as you wanted to, okay? If you want to book a personal, the information is provided along with links to my other platforms for more content. And we're going to do the TT Talks. I got a TT Talk for you today. And then I'll do the messages for the signs and things like that. But this TT Talks is, it comes from the quote from Miss Maya Angelou, and I'm sure I've talked about this before, but we're going to punch on it again, because there's some things that came to light for me, so I'm going to share, and we're just going to talk about it. All right. This quote is very popular right now. It's when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And people show us every day who they are, and they show us through their speech, through their habits, through their patterns, through everything. Sometimes they show us through their speech, through their mouth, and they tell us. Because if you listen long enough, they'll tell you exactly what you need to know. And whether we are aware of it or not, we all do. We all show people who we are. And it's not about rewriting those patterns, but it's about learning not just other people's stuff, but learning your own habits and patterns. And I have been going through a lot of that learning these past couple of years, yes, but these past couple of weeks with all this energy and whatnot, and recognizing it and understanding it and learning about it and getting information and researching and all that stuff. Everything is connected, everything works together, and it's all for us to learn and grow and expand, but also to teach. You teach others through your daily habits and routines, and more so, very impressionable is on young people. 333 right there. It's on young people. How you grow up, who you're around when you grow up, what they say, what they do, what their habits are. You learn through example. That whole do as I say, not as I do is BS. Real talk, it's BS. And it's not just, from being younger or what have you, or from listening to your elders. It's patterns around people, period. Especially when you have any kind of platform or anybody, creating content and what have you. That goes for me too, and I had to really step back and look at that for myself, look at my habits, my patterns, my daily routine, look at how I was raised, how I was brought up, who I was raised around, their habits. All of that comes into play as you grow older and as you learn. And we are very much able, and when you are old enough to know better, that's when you do better. Or you choose that. No, that's not when you do better. It's when you choose to do better. Everything is about choices. You choose to have certain habits and routines. Those things are learned, but you are very able and capable of learning new things. You can teach yourself new habits, teach yourself new ways of thinking. And, in doing that, internalizing it, and looking at those patterns that we have, those habits that we have, we are very much responsible for being accountable to ourselves. Being accountable, it's been a lot about learning accountability here lately. I believe that is a lesson Saturn teaches us is about accountability. Showing people who you are, as far as your character and your integrity, and what that means to you, and what that means as far as how you put yourself out into the world. I very, very much have been learning this lesson. And it's been an interesting lesson to learn. Nobody wants to, none of us ever want to be wrong, but in never wanting to be wrong, are you being flexible and learning? Are you being able to be teachable? Are you capable of learning to express yourself, be yourself in your truest, genuine, authentic form? Or are you doing so because it is popular, or because it's what is expected of you, or because it's what you've always done? Those are those lessons that, those life lessons that we learn. And it's also those life lessons that we teach. I am very much a person of, being aware of the example that we teach our young people. They watch us very, very closely. They get their cues from us. If you, for instance, you are a toddler, you're around a toddler, and that toddler is learning to walk or crawl or what have you. Teaching a child what to fear and how to, how they are to react comes from your reaction. Say a child falls down and they're hurt, but they're so in shock that they don't really know what it is that, that's happening. And they immediately look to an adult to, okay, am I supposed to cry? Am I supposed to get up? Oh my gosh, I'm hurt, but what's happening? And by the reaction of the adult around them, that depends on how they respond. If you're like, oh my goodness, you're okay, come on, let's get up, let's try it again, that's encouraging them that, oh, okay, I'm okay, yeah, it hurt a little bit, I may have fallen down, or I may have messed up, but it's okay because they say it's okay and I can fall down and get back up. Whereas the other part of that is true as well. They fall down and, oh my God, come here, let me see. Oh my God, are you okay? Well, and then the child, goes into hysterics because the adult is in hysterics. So being mindful of those kinds of things, being mindful of that. How encouraging are you to, those around you who fall down and, getting themselves back up? It, it's nature and nurture, people. It is nature and nurture. And the thing is it's once we understand that, once we get the point of that, we become conscious of those things. And being conscious is, oh gosh, that in itself is exhausting because there are those around you who choose not to be. And being conscious is a choice when you are around someone who is very much a teacher in that. And they are, someone who uses their words to explain to you something. Take, for instance, we got channel songs and everything, but take, for instance, your journey period. Okay, your journey. You were once this particular way because you were raised this way, and these are the things that were accepted, and they go on around you in your close proximity environment, your home, where you with your family. Those are your first teachers. In that place, in that environment, you are learning the family dynamic, what they learned, what their parents taught them. But as you grow older and you become your own person, you may start to see and pick up on, hey, some of those things that went on in my family dynamic, that's not cool. Some of those things were, abusive, or some of those things were habits that were not really good for everybody. Those kinds of things. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm wanting to change that dynamic for myself because it doesn't fit for me anymore. It doesn't work for me anymore. And in you doing that and breaking away from the core of what you're taught, those who are in that environment grow up, that you've grown up with, that you've become accustomed to, that you've been in this taught environment. They look at you a little differently because it's like, okay, but we've done this way this whole time. What are you doing? Why are you trying to change this? Why? And granted, they may not even say those words to you, but when someone shows you who they are, you have to believe them in the place and space that they are right there. And it doesn't mean that that person is not capable of growing or changing or expanding, but right there in that moment, that's when your new way, your growth is conflicting with what was once accepted, because the collective accepted it. And it does, I'm not just meaning, yes, the world too, but I'm speaking specifically about the environment that we grow up in. And growing up, I grew up in the hood. Real talk. I mean, ain't no way getting around it. But I always shared the mindset um, with my bestie. She and I shared this mindset at a very young age. We were probably like um, 11 or 12 years old when we said this to each other. Just because we live in the ghetto doesn't mean we have to act like we are doesn't mean that we have to act ghetto. And that was very much my concept and mindset. I never thought I was better than anybody because we were all in the same, in the same environment. But I always said that just because this is where I live, it does not mean that this is how I have to act. It doesn't mean that this is how I have to speak. I don't have to ascribe to the same things as those around me just because this is the environment I am in. So you grow and allow yourself to grow, allow yourself to learn, and be okay with that. And I've really truly been learning that just because you grow up in the same environment doesn't mean you have the same experience. So yeah, it's been some awakenings and some understandings and whatnot. And y'all, if y'all see that video from yesterday, that TT Talks from yesterday, I was having one. But I also realized there after I, had that moment and, spoke to y'all and gave it to y'all, in that moment. I was doing so and I cannot stand not, coming across as, having it together and being on point. That bothers me. But I also had to realize that being vulnerable gives other people permission to also be vulnerable and be in their truth, and then learn from it and grow from it. I A little bit later on in the after that, well, a little after that, after I posted it, I started second guessing myself and I took it down. And also I didn't even share it to my other platforms. I left it specifically as a YouTube upload because of who's gonna see it and what will they think when they see this. And I was like, okay, so I took it down. And then a little later I was scrolling through one of my social medias, and a reader, a tarot reader came up, and she was live. And I cannot even, I'm sorry, I can't think of who she is right now. But she was live, and she was speaking about, the very same exact thing that I had been going through probably, 3 or 4 hours before. She actually came live and was like, yeah, this is, right now I am feeling a little down on myself. She said you can even call it being depressed right now, but it doesn't mean that I don't keep going. I don't keep doing. I don't keep, I continue to be this example and, put myself out there because what I am doing could be helping someone. And when I tell you, it was like, raising my hand, amen, and, church and tabernacle she was giving. Yeah, because she was. And in me seeing someone else be vulnerable and speak her truth about, the things that she had been going through and how she was feeling right then in the moment, but still smiling and giving and being her true self, I was like, okay, so that's what I'm doing. That's what that was about. And so it's up. I want to say it's TT Talks number 43, and I don't remember the title of it, something about reflecting. So, by all means, if you are wanting to check that out, yeah, snotting and crying and all that stuff, I can't stand it. I don't like it. But it is because I was taught and told that crying is weak. Crying is a weakness. And when I tell y'all, it did not feel like a weakness after I got off of the. Uh, it didn't feel like a weakness. It felt very empowering. It felt really cathartic. And, if it's helping somebody, I'm more than, it's. What are you willing to do to be your true authentic self, not just in front of people when the frequency and the vibe is high? Are you willing to do so when it's not so good, when you are having those moments? So that was part of that, and it brought about some hard truths that I had to look at for myself, in accepting responsibility and accountability for why I was being triggered in that manner. Sorry guys, I'm trying to plug up my computer. So it brought some things out, some true authentic emotions and thoughts right then and there, and being triggered and what triggers me and all that stuff. So this time this is about that. This is about that, and it's not going to be some easy stuff. So again, we are being called to have grace with one another. Give grace. Give exactly the thing that you would want for yourself. I don't think we stop and think about those things, and we just let things fly. We are all super judgmental of each other, and in real life, in actuality, we don't give each other enough grace. We don't give ourselves enough grace, but we definitely don't extend that to others. I had this habit of making myself a victim. They're doing this to me. I'm working my way out of that. I'm working my way out of that, because no one can do anything to you without your permission. Nobody can make you feel anything without you giving them the okay. It is very much my responsibility to be the one to speak up for myself. And I had that real harsh reality come up to me. You are the one that allows these things. I had to take that responsibility on and look at that for myself. Real talk. There are things that have been repeating, like I said in my TT talks, there were things that kept repeating because, and it's, different faces, different people, but it's the same spirit and same energy till you learn the lesson. And that right there was, so that was a God smack. That's very much a God smack. Now, I don't like repeating myself. So I had to also learn that if I am having to continue to repeat myself, that means this person is showing me who they are. And I'm the one who's not taking responsibility and accountability for my own heart and feelings because I keep putting myself in that same position. If I've told you once, and then I'll tell you a second time, this thing that you are doing is bothering me. And it's not just bothering me, it's bothering how I deal with you. If this is something that this connection is something that you still want to hold on to, then the way that you interact with me is going to have to change. And if that cannot happen, then you're telling me exactly how you feel about me, how you feel about yourself, and how you feel about our connection. And so it's best that we just part ways and we move on. And it's doing so from a place of love and understanding for each other. It doesn't have to be mean and cold and nasty. It doesn't have to be. It's just accepting that this is how this person is. They do not want to give to me what I am asking for. And I'm not telling anybody to change. But what I am telling you is this is how I need to be treated in our dynamic. And if we are to continue to, grow and go together and be in harmony with one another, this is what I need. And the thing is I have to recognize that the opposite is true. If this is how you are telling me that you need to be treated, I need to respect that and do that for you in order for us to stay in contact and stay in relationship with each other. And that's all dynamics. That's all dynamics. So when somebody is saying this thing that you're doing is it's not working for me, and they're in the place and space of saying, okay, well, this is who I am, but in order for us to continue in this connection, because I like you and you like me, and we are very much able to coexist, and I want us to continue to coexist, I can adjust this for you. How you work with everybody else is how you work with everybody else. But in this particular dynamic, this is what this person needs. And it's not about changing who you are. It's about having respect for how the other person feels. Because that space and place of, well, this is just how I am, it's not a place of growth. It's a place of selfishness. Real talk. It's a place of selfishness. So if you are not in a place of growth and understanding, then okay, that's we have to respect each other. And respecting each other's level of consciousness and understanding is what frees us to be exactly who we are and move and shake in the places and spaces that we want to be. That was my understanding. That was my learning. And now the thing is knowing to do something and actually acting it out and doing it. That's the place of growth. That's the place of accountability and the place of integrity. That's character. So when you know to do something and you don't do it, well, you get what what you're putting out there. We're gonna let that go. Let that marinate, let that be that. Okay? Um the channel songs for this TT Talks, I know we go all the way to the end. But I've been very much hearing them, and I have them written down here, of course. We have John B. Don't Say, and the lyrics go, "Don't say what you won't do." That part. Those are the words that I'm hearing of that. Don't say what you won't do, especially when you're not acting on them, or you are acting on them and it's something completely different. It's coming into alignment with that. And then the second song is Happily Ever After by Chase. Oh, I'm sorry, Chase. Huh. I know a young man named Chase, but anyway, by Case. Happily Ever After by Case. It's getting that understanding of where you meet, where your soul and your heart and your spirit and your understanding, your mind, where all of that meets. And once you get into that place and space of your actions meeting your words, there's the happily ever after. All right, Nuggets, I love you. I love you from my soul. And I send you all blessings and light. Take care.